All right, so this video. So if you're a Muslim, my goal isn't to turn you off KFC. But if this does affect you, know that it's not just a KFC thing. Like this would be happening in other fast food restaurants that have bacon, that sell bacon, right? And also keep in mind, I'm not a Muslim myself, so I am at no point claiming to be an expert in the religion. I'm just sharing my personal experiences, and I want to tell the truth of my experience at KFC. And if you're not a Muslim, I still think it's an interesting thing what happened. So, yeah. So I don't hate KFC. I love KFC. And in all honesty, like while I was working, I was treated fairly well, like overall. But there's some ethical problems, right? The first one is misleading of customers. And then the second one was frequent bacon cross-contamination, right? So back when I was 15, back when I pretty much first started, I was working the front counter and I had a customer that came in and their question to me was, is the KFC chicken halal? And I had no idea. We haven't been trained or taught what to say in that situation. So I went to the assistant manager and I spoke to them and the manager said, yes, we are halal. And so I went back and I told the customer that, and they ordered, and that's what I used to say to every customer going forward. And we'd maybe get this question once every few weeks. It wasn't something that happened all the time, but it was something that happened enough of the time. So about a year after that, when I was 16 or 17, I can't remember, I was working front counter again, but I was doing packing and we were really busy. And so a different assistant manager was taking an order on the front counter. And we had a customer that asked the exact same question. Is the chicken halal, right? And this manager says, yes, the chicken is halal, but we're not certified as we sell bacon on the premises, right? So that was different, that wasn't the same answer as the previous manager, right? And this put the customer in a bit of a pickle. Like you could tell they were a bit taken aback by it. They didn't know what to do, right? But rest assured, they're already there and there's nothing else nearby. The only thing nearby was there's a Hungry Jack's right across the road, right? But that too isn't halal, right? So what other option they got, and the food smells good too. To be fair, when you walk into KFC, it smells bloody good, right? Because you can smell the chicken and all the cooking, right? So yeah, they ordered, and yeah, like it was different response. So from now on, so from then on, that's what I used to tell customers, because the other way just felt like straight lying, right? Because how can you be halal if you're not certified, right? It's either a yes or no question. There's no like, oh, we sort of are, but we're not, like that. It just felt super weird. And then not too long after that, I had another manager, right? We used to go through managers like left and right. And another customer asked the manager the same question, right? Is the chicken halal? And this manager pretty much said the same thing, except yes, all our chicken is halal, except for the popcorn chicken, right? And I'm not sure if everyone knows what popcorn chicken is. It's just, imagine them as like mini nuggets, mini deep fried nuggets. That they taste really good. When they're fresh, they taste really good. So what was the right answer, Like, is the chicken halal? Is it not halal? Like, are some things not halal and some things are? Like, well, what does that even all mean, right? And you can't even get the answer for this, I looked on the official KFC Australia website looking for when they talk about halal stuff. And they did have this one thing. And the question is, do you have any halal options, right? And then it has here, the Colonel believed everyone should have a seat at his table, so we're mindful of responding to customer needs and cultural sensitivities in a balanced manner. We have just a few restaurants in Australia that don't serve bacon and are locally certified as halal, right? And these locations are this, and they have no plans to expand this. Like, this response feels, you could tell our corporate lawyer wrote this, right? They just danced around the topic, right? They're not saying whether or not the chicken is halal or the chicken isn't halal, none of that, You can tell they don't want to get in any legal water, So there was all that lying situation, and that like as a 15-year-old kid, you don't think, and that's something I want to talk about. So the next thing, bacon cross-contamination. Now, this happened during the cooking process and while we'll be packing the orders, right? It happened all the time and everywhere. This was a frequent thing that happened, right? There was little to no care to make sure that bacon doesn't get into the other products, right? Like as a young worker, you're not, and especially if you're not a Muslim, you're not thinking about this, right? It's not something that crosses your mind when you're dealing with bacon and dealing with chicken and stuff. Like I didn't even know. I'm 15. I didn't even know that you couldn't even eat bacon as a Muslim, or you shouldn't. So the way that this cross contamination would happen was we'd have a machine. Look, the cooks would cook the bacon, but not only would it be bacon in there, it'd also be the grilled chicken strips in there too. They use the same machine and the same trays and the same stuff. And in between cooks, like if they were making grilled strips or bacon, they're not cleaning the machine or cleaning the tray, or at least not like they're scraping off maybe like any bits of big bacon so they don't burn, but they're not giving it a proper clean, with products and stuff. So there's none of that going on. So you can imagine there would be constant bacon juices, landing on the grilled chicken, and vice versa. There'll be chicken on the bacon, but that's not a big problem. A place where this contamination happened a lot too was the person doing the burgers. When they make burgers, right? We got gloves on, and quite a few of our burgers involve bacon and cheese. There'll be the plain burgers and there'll be the bacon and cheese burgers. It was really frequent for people making burgers to just, while they make their burger, they just grab a piece of bacon with their gloved fingers and put it on the burger. Now and then they make the burger, and then the next order comes through, and then the burger would have no bacon, So you can imagine that there's bacon grease being transferred into other burgers that don't even have bacon in it, which is pretty crazy. If you ask me, like it was pretty crazy. And we even had, we didn't even have dedicated tongs for just the bacon. We did have tongs. We were actually supposed to use tongs to actually put the bacon on the burger, but that doesn't get rid of the cross contamination at all, because those same tongs are also getting used to pack chicken items too. So at the end of the day, it didn't matter whether we were using our hands or using the tongs. At the end of the day, the chicken still gets that contamination. So it would feel like, now that I think of it now, it's like, imagine being, you're not like if you're a Muslim customer coming into KFC, you don't expect there to be bacon on your food, but there's a good chance that if you go to KFC frequently, this has happened. It's just not something you think of when you're younger, and stuff. And like there was literally no care, but like I know I did it hundreds of times when I'd be making burgers and stuff. Like I just put the bacon in the burger. Like it never crossed my mind. It's just not something that we were taught to care about. And even if we were, I don't even know if that would orchestrate into a real change anyway. People might just ignore it. We're getting paid fuck all there. Like when I first started, I was getting paid $7.91 an hour. That's like, yeah, it's really, really low when you compare it to like any job by any adult, $7.91. It couldn't even buy a small Philip burger meal. 1 hour of my work couldn't even buy the smallest meal they had. Isn't that just ridiculous? Right? So it's no wonder that a lot of people don't give a shit. A lot of kids don't care about quality or making sure everything's in the bag or even this bacon thing. But it's a real interesting thing to think about, right? But I do want to say it's not just the employee's fault or the system, right? If there's no halal sign at the store, right, it should be up to customers too to make their own determination. Like it's like I said before, it's not just a KFC thing. It's really easy to cross-contaminate bacon products into non-bacon products, especially if they're being used in the same products like burgers and wraps and whatnot, right? So if it doesn't have the symbol on the door, I mean, you've got to use your own mind here sometimes. Like that's proof enough that maybe you shouldn't consider getting, if it's a big problem to you, maybe not to get it, maybe not to get it. So yeah, what would have been nice is if a customer asks, is the chicken halal, right? The answer, it shouldn't be about steering them in, we sort of are, we don't have the certification, blah, 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 blah. It should just be no. Like, is it halal? No, because we're not certified. So how can it be halal? Like no certification, like that shouldn't be a thing. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please leave a comment what you think. That'll be really interesting to me. And I also, like I said, I have plenty of stories. I could talk hours about my KFC experience. There was many things, like there was some fucked up shit some of the time I had to deal with. So yeah, please leave a comment and thank you. Got something to expose? Call the Spilato Bros.